Hi everyone. I'll just set my own timer. Whoop. My name is Irina Lutsenko, and I'm passionate about writing. I love writing. Unfortunately, I think you all face the same problem. Most students don't, and sometimes they complete the entire course, especially general English, without writing a single thing. I don't like that, and I think the reason for that is that the exercises in general English course book for writing are extremely boring. They are not conducive to writing, they are not conducive to inspiration, to creativity, and when I look at them, I just know students are highly unlikely to write them. I don't even want to write them. So I'm going to talk about some things you can do or some ways you can revamp the writing tasks in course books to make them more fun, to make them more creative, and hopefully to inspire your students to write. I'm going to look at examples from English File, but you will get the main idea, and I think you can apply all the same ideas to other course books. So here's one example, a letter of complaint. A letter of complaint is actually a great piece of writing to do, a very useful piece of writing to do. Students need to practice all this, dear Ms. Adams, yours faithfully, yours sincerely, and things like that. But the example in the book is someone ordered a coffee machine that didn't work, and then the task in the book is write a letter of complaint about something you bought online. And to me, when I look at it, I know, no, nobody's going to write that. It's boring, it's vague, it's not clear. So I suggest one thing you can do here is you can just change the instructions and make them more memorable and more specific. I have a couple of suggestions here. So one thing you can do is you can come up with instructions like this. I personally came up with these instructions. So you decided to buy a toaster as a birthday present for your boyfriend. You went online and ordered a stylish silver one. But when you opened the box, it turned out they sent you a pink one. So write a letter of complaint asking to have the toaster changed. Now this is more memorable, you know, the pink toaster will probably linger in your students' minds. And this is also specific. It's not something you bought online. It's a very specific thing they have to write about. So it will be much easier for students to write, to respond to this prompt. If you have very creative students, I have another suggestion for you, so you can take it one step further. And here are some other, here is another task I have. You've just heard that your favorite yogurt flavor will no longer be available. You've already written a letter asking to bring the flavor back, but the flavor was not returned. Write an indignant letter of complaint to the CEO insisting that they bring the flavor back. And this is more creative. Here, the students can have fun with expressing their indignation, with coming up with reasons for bringing their favorite flavor back, and they can have a lot of fun. At the same time, they can still practice all this formal language like yours faithfully and so on. Okay, so done. A boring task is now a fun task. Another example, a covering email with your CV. Again, a very useful task to do. Again, all this language I'm writing to apply, all that is absolutely necessary. But then when I look at this task, you know, the vacancies in the following areas, administration, hospitality, catering, again, I'm bored when I look at this. So I think maybe my students will be bored too. What do I do? So here is something I came up with. This is actually an actual article I read online. This is true. Dream job. Netflix is hiring professional binge watchers to rate their shows. This is so much fun, you know, professional binge watchers. That's an interesting job. Many of us would probably like to apply for it. And the thing I do is I actually take this idea and I write the instructions in the exact same way they were written in the book for that boring task. So the instructions can be, we're looking for dedicated and enthusiastic TV and movie superfan. Responsibilities: watch, rate, tag, annotate TV shows and movies. All applicants must be appropriately qualified. And this is a lot of fun because students can have fun with coming up with reasons, with their qualifications. What is appropriately qualified for a binge watcher, for a professional binge watcher? And this is so much fun. And you can go online. There are actually lots and lots of articles about very unusual jobs. Here is another example: agree or disagree. A very good type of task. Many exams have this task. It's again very useful to practice writing an introduction, the main body, conclusion. But again, the topic I see in the book, it's not a good idea to cram the evening before an exam. Obviously, it's not a good idea. I don't like this topic because it is so obvious. So I want to spark the students' interest. I want to add some controversy. And this is something I come up with. It is a good idea to cheat in an exam. Now, this is a controversial topic. Well, of course, it's not a good idea to cheat. You shouldn't. You absolutely shouldn't. But let's face it, people in Russia do cheat, and very often it's not even frowned upon. So this can be a controversial idea, again, that will linger on your students' mind, and they will be debating whether to write what they really feel, or whether to write something that sounds nice, that you know, something formal, like you shouldn't cheat, or whether to write that actually yes, you should cheat. And then they can have fun with it. Some other controversial topics, like it is a good idea to be on the team of the first colonists on Mars, and there are actually solid reasons for and against this. People would benefit from having the necessity of sleep removed from their lives. People probably have never thought about it. So again, this is something they will be thinking about, something that will stay on their mind. And this is something that you want. And one more example is a short story. Obviously, it's a good idea to practice narrative tenses. Students, by all means, they should practice narrative tenses, past simple, and so on. And the book gives an example, and then the book gives the following prompts. It was 11 o'clock when the phone rang. Highly creative students will be able to write something like this, to write a good story, but I think usually students will only write a good story for this prompt if they force themselves to write a story. I don't like that. I don't want that. I want students to have fun. So I have creative writing prompts here, and I included something that will trigger the students' imagination. So I want to help them to let their imagination run wild. For example, if I'd known then what I know now, I never would have stolen those socks. How did I end up stealing them? Well, and that's, you know, stolen socks. What could be the story behind the stolen socks? And I think that can really spark students' interest and imagination. Something a bit more neutral, like he wasn't supposed to know about that $20,000 at all, yet somehow he found out, and then you unwrap this story. He found out how. Or this is a bit more challenging if your students can do it. I like it. I rushed around the house in terror, turning every tap on full. So I think, you see, this is how you can just revamp all these boring tasks in book, all the standard run-of-the-mill book standard. They are all the same in many books. You can just add a bit of creativity, a bit of insanity, and help your students have fun. More importantly, I think you can actually do it completely effortlessly, because all you need for this is just your imagination and type a couple of lines. You don't need any fancy handouts, any fancy worksheets, or something like that. And one more great benefit of this is they can still practice the format. They can still practice all those past tenses, narrative tenses, or the format of a formal email, a letter, and something like that. So I think that's it from me. I think I finished 1 minute earlier. Thank you all so much. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them in the chat, or you can find me on social media and follow me online, and message me if you have any questions about these tasks or any other tasks. I have a lot of creative writing prompts that I will be happy to share. Thank you.